Right here we have the M4 iPad Pro versus the M5 iPad Pro. Which one of these two iPads should you spend your super hard-earned money? I know you work super hard, but these two iPads are a lot of money. Should you even look at these guys? Maybe look at the Air? Let's talk about it. Now on the outside, these iPads are absolutely beautiful. I mean, when you're looking at the iPad Pro, it essentially is the iPad perfected. Like the thinness of this guy, I mean, this is absolutely like minuscule thin. I mean, this is it compared to the 17 Pro Max. Like that's a pretty big difference. That's one of the things, you know, the Air is impressive because it's so thin, but man, these iPads having this big of a panel that's this rigid, that thin, that's pretty incredible. So first, let's talk about the differences. As you can see right here, I don't know if you can see that. On this iPad, which is the iPad Pro M5, that does not have this little iPad logo right there. The M5, they took it away. I wonder with the M6 if they're gonna bring it back, just that way you can differentiate between the two different iPads. But just know if you're buying one of these in the aftermarket, if it has that little iPad mark, it's not the M5. So let's talk about what is the same with these iPads. They are pretty much the exact same design on the outside. If you didn't know about that little mark, you probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference between the two. It still comes in the 11-inch model and the 13-inch model. I prefer the 11-inch model. I think for an iPad, it's like the absolute perfect size. Now, if you are somebody who is going to have just an iPad, you're not gonna get a MacBook, which is now possible with iPadOS 26, I would then possibly think about going with a 13-inch iPad, because as nice as this iPad is, if it is your only device, that is a little bit hard to get all your work done on one single thing. These both have the tandem OLED screens, absolutely gorgeous. They're both the 120 hertz display. I mean, it's like, this is for sure the best display on any device that I've ever seen in my life. I know it's kind of hard to see right now in the screen, but like the blacks on these guys are just absolutely dark, inky blacks. Right now I've got, you know, I don't really know which one is the M5 or the M4. They have the exact same panel in them. I think they look fantastic, and so, man, if like screen quality is it for you, you don't have to choose between the M4 or the M5, or if you have an M4, don't upgrade for the screen quality, it's the exact same. They're both the Ultra Retina XDR display, which is just Apple's way of saying like this is the absolute top of the line of what we've got. Now here's something I was very pleased with. All of the accessories that were with your M4 iPad still work with the M5 iPad. I was actually kind of worried about that, like, man, would I have to order a whole nother Magic Keyboard and Apple Pencil Pro? Thank the Lord we don't have to do that, so your old Magic Keyboard can still work with your new one, which is absolutely amazing because the old one, man, $300 for this guy. I mean, it is gorgeous. I love this keyboard. I think it looks amazing. It types amazing. This is my favorite. Like, as somebody who goes out, I write a whole lot. All my sermons, everything I do, I write, you know, word for word, really like long form. I love typing on the Magic Keyboard. Now, the one thing I don't like about this keyboard is the fact that this little hinge right here, if you don't see it, it's really sharp, so when you put it in your backpack, it really could mess up other devices. Like sometimes I'll put this in with my MacBook Pro and I'm like, man, that's gonna get all jacked up, so just be aware of that. Now, one little add-on that I don't remember if the M4 did this, the fact that this has this black braided cable that comes in the box. It's not one of the white cables, which is really nice. I love, you know, I wish the Apple ones were a little bit longer. They've made them shorter over the years, I think. But having this little premium black looking cable is pretty awesome. Let me know in the comments below if you remember if the M4 came with a black cable. Now, Apple is claiming that this iPad is about a 20% upgrade from the M4 iPad, and maybe it is. Sometimes those numbers are hard to believe. It says that it's got a 30% bandwidth on the unified memory, and so it's like the RAM. Apple has to come up with their own, you know, their own naming scheme for stuff, but the RAM is 30% faster. It says that it's about 15 to 25% faster for CPU and GPU performance. Now, I'll tell you this, whatever work you do on your iPad, maybe you're gonna be pushing the limits with this, you know, if you're doing like 3D rendering work and all that kind of stuff, but even for video editing, this iPad is absolutely phenomenal. I pronounced that phenomenal. That's not a word, phenomenal. Now on this iPad, you do get a couple of little upgrades. You get better Wi-Fi, you get better Bluetooth, and it does have the C1X, which is in the cellular models, but man, for real, these are all those little spec bumps that you're like, don't really know that I'll notice all that much, especially because most people don't have Wi-Fi 7 in their homes yet. So it's an upgrade, but it'll probably be a helpful upgrade in a few years. Now, one quick word about the RAM. It is really helpful this year that they went from 8 gigabytes to RAM in the M4 as the base model to the 12 gigabytes of RAM. I just think that that's like That's like the bare minimum of what you can get. Yes, everything does have swap memory, but that lowers the life of your SSD. That's where it swaps out memory usage with your like long-term solid state storage. But just know the M5 models do have more RAM. So if you are somebody who uses really RAM heavy tasks, maybe you're gonna see a little bump, probably not. And then if you go with the 1 terabyte or the 2 terabyte model, it does have 16 gigs as the base RAM. Now here's some good news on these guys. The battery usage is absolutely fantastic. I mean, I use these things for day after day after day, and they never seem to run out of battery. Like I'm charging it maybe once a week, and the charging is so fast on these guys that it makes it just a moot point. So finally, let's talk about price with these two guys. The price is what's going to really cause people to want to go with the M4 over the M5, because you're getting 99.5% of as good of a device for about $200 off. The 11-inch M5 iPad Pro is about $1,000, so $999. You're gonna be able to find this for like $750, $800, and that's brand new. If you look on the used market, maybe you get $650, you know, somewhere around there. And I think like this thing is gonna last years and years and years. I will tell you this, even the M1 iPads still feel pretty good. So the M4 iPad Pro, it's gonna feel fine for years to come. So here's what I would do. I would take that extra money and I would get you this Apple keyboard. I mean, this thing is it's just an absolute delight to use. I use this every single day. I would take that money, put it towards that. Then you're only really spending $100 on this, and you're getting a great little package. If you are somebody who is an artist, though, an artist has a different conversation. They should get the Apple Pencil with that money. This is the Apple Pencil Pro. It is a really incredible device, you know, for what it is. I'm not an artist, and when I take notes in a notebook, I'm gonna use a physical notebook because I'm not a weirdo, you know what I mean? So if you are an artist, man, the Apple Pencil Pro is an absolute delight. It is such an incredible, you know, piece of kit that you can get in your gear. You could do so much with it. If you're somebody who's like designing stuff and you're doing a lot of 3D work, that's helpful. I do know people also like to edit videos with the Apple Pencil, and they find it really helpful. It's cool because you can get like fine-tuned stuff. Maybe you're using the Photoshop app in your iPad. That does make it easier for that kind of stuff. But I don't do all that stuff in my iPad. I've got really big, really expensive computers that I do that in. Here's what I will say. The iPad Pro is perfected. You can actually pretty much use it as a laptop replacement. iPadOS 26 is absolutely phenomenal now with, you know, the external monitor support and the multi-window support on the external monitor. Just incredible stuff that you can do nowadays. So I highly recommend the M5 iPad Pro if you're coming from like the M1 or maybe just a little bit before the M series chips. If you're M2, M3, M4, I wouldn't upgrade yet. I just don't think it's worth, you know, spending your money on this. The one caveat to that is this. With the M4, I traded it in, and for the M4, I got like $650, and so my iPad Pro was only a few $100 upgrade. For me as a tech reviewer, that makes sense. I don't think it makes sense for very many people, but see what you can get. You know, maybe you have an M2 and you could trade it in for $500 or $600, maybe, I'm not sure. That might be worth it for you. I will say this, until your device feels old, don't upgrade. It's not that big of a deal. You're gonna get it a week later. It's just gonna feel like another device that you got. So keep your money, spend it on more important things. But I will say, man, the M5 iPad Pro is very impressive. It is an absolutely gorgeous iPad. It is perfected. What I do want to see Apple do is come out with their foldable lineup, so then we get an iPad that's half the size. So let me know in the comments below, who do you actually think should upgrade to the M5 iPad Pro? Like this video if you found it helpful. Sub to the channel, guys. I appreciate you so much. I'll see you all in the next one.